Welcome to Savidge Kitchen. Today, we are lighting shit on fire and I'm pretty excited about it. We're gonna be going over different techniques to smoke a cocktail. There are a lot of different ways to smoke a cocktail. There are a lot of different reasons you would smoke a cocktail, and I'm gonna show you 4 of them today. Things to consider. You're gonna need some sort of tools for this, even from the most DIY to the advanced that includes some electronics. You're also going to need fuel to burn. You can burn anything from wood chips, which are super common. You can chip them out of your deadfall in the yard. You can buy wood chips online, depending on the type of smoker, the finer the better. We'll talk about that. You can also burn dried herbs, which is my personal favorite, depending on the cocktail. But to me, the scent of smoked cinnamon is just really lovely and goes very well with so many different things. But we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into this. Now, safety precautions. Try not to set your house on fire. If you do, make sure your insurance is paid up. Might be a good idea to have a buddy nearby. Use a fire-safe surface. Make peace with your gods and then go to town. In general, this is really safe and easy. Just be a little bit careful. Be aware of your surroundings. Try not to burn the house down. So in my experience, when I've had smoked cocktails out, it seems to always be with a whiskey drink. And I am not mad at that. Y'all know, I'm a whiskey lover. I'm a whiskey drinker. I love a smoked whiskey cocktail. However, you can smoke really any kind of cocktail. So I'm going to show you 4 wildly different from each other cocktails for each of these smoking techniques. For our first technique, we're going to do a smoked chai old fashioned because that sounds delicious. For our second one, we're going to do a smoked espresso martini. For our third, we're going to do a smoked ube margarita. And for our fourth, we're going to do a smoked blood and sand. Now, if you want to jump ahead either to one of these particular cocktails or one of these particular smoking techniques, there are chapter marks below. Save this, come back to it. I hope you try all of these out depending on what kind of stuff you get. And I'll put links below to some of the tools that I use to smoke a cocktail. So let's get into it. For our smoked chai old fashioned, we are simply going to use a skillet and a blowtorch. Now, it's very important that the skillet that you choose for this is not a non-stick skillet. We're going to be directly adding flame to the surface here, so it's important that we're not melting any Teflon or plastic. Also, you could try this on a cedar wood board, but I feel like that gets messy. The board has only so many uses. I love a good cast iron skillet. Our fuel for this cocktail is going to be dried cinnamon sticks. Now, I find that cinnamon burns really well, puts out a nice big enough flame so that when you smother the flame, there's a lot of smoke output. It smells amazing, both when you burn it and as you're drinking the cocktail afterwards. I'm also a big fan of dried lavender petals. Now these, oh God, they also smell really good. The smoke on this is quite floral. The similarity between cinnamon and lavender and even cardamom that I have here, which also burns really beautifully, is that the structure of the dried thing, whatever it is, has enough variation in it that air gets trapped into and sucked into the fuel, and actually the fire can grow. If you just have a flat thing, sometimes that's hard to burn. Anise doesn't burn really well. Cloves don't burn great. They also, I don't think, smell very good, which is shocking. I know clove cigarettes were a thing in the 90s. But they just, they taste kind of dirty. So not my particular favorite, but by all means, experiment, find dried herbs and spices that you like and try setting them on fire. So what I'm doing here is I'm just breaking my cinnamon sticks into a couple of pieces. 2 or 3 will do. And the key is that I want to take the glass that I'm eventually going to put my cocktail in and make sure that it fits over the fuel that we're going to burn. Right? Make sure that there's a nice tight seal there. So I'm going to take my butane torch and set these bad boys on fire. All right, well, that's not nearly enough flame for me. There we go. Ooh. There we go. And then just smother the flames with your glass, and we're going to set this aside while we build our cocktail. Stir, stir, stir. Okay. So now this has been sitting here just collecting the smoke that we've created from our burnt cinnamon. We're just gonna flip our glass over and pour the cocktail in. So I'm just serving this old-fashioned up, not over a rock. You can absolutely take a rock and throw it in there, it's fine, but about to make 4 cocktails, we're on a shortage of ice around here. So ready, we're gonna flip and then pour. Smells amazing. Oh my God. So obviously as we're pouring, the smoke is dissipating. This really, whoever's preparing the drinks has the best time here. Oh, so this technique is super easy. All you need is a skillet and a blowtorch. You can try this with a lighter or matches. It's actually very difficult. The flame from the culinary torch really helps like get the fire going. Otherwise, if you're a Boy Scout and super patient, by all means, try it without the torch. But the torch makes life super easy. So, all right, let's move on to number 2. Next up is our smoked espresso martini. I love an espresso martini. I feel like they are very in vogue right now. To me, the only way in the world to make an espresso martini is with Mr. Black. If you're using Kahlua or anything else, I'm really sorry. Go get this. Go get the Mr. Black. It tastes like espresso. It's not too sweet. It's a vodka base, not rum. No, they're not paying me to say this. I just genuinely love this liqueur. But what you're here for is the technique. So let's talk about this little guy. This particular one is called a smoke UFO. You have probably seen these online. Fog Hat makes a very, very popular one. There's a variety that you can find on Amazon. They're wonderful. What I love about the smoke UFO is that it fits on almost any type of glass as long as the opening of the glass is not wider than the disc. So all this is a disc of wood that has a basket, a little grate inside that's going to hold the fuel where we're going to push fire down through it. And then it vents down into the cocktail glass. A variety of fuels work in this type of device, and it just gives you more options as you're smoking cocktails at home. Now, for all of these, we're gonna need this blowtorch. That is the key. And of any of the techniques, trying to do this one with a lighter in the match really is ineffective. So get yourself a blowtorch. Besides, everybody should have a blowtorch. I don't know what you're doing without a blowtorch. Get a blowtorch. As you guys know, I love my elevated craft shaker. For this, I'm just making 1 cocktail at a time, but that seems criminal. You should at least be making 2, or in this case, you can make up to 4 cocktails of this recipe in this shaker. Highly recommend a batch at a time. Okay, so when filling your coupe, you do not want to go all the way up to the tippy top. You have to leave some room for the smoke to sit on top of your cocktail. So, that's about enough. A little extra sip in there for me. Then we're gonna place our smoke disc right on top. Put a little bit of fuel. In this case, I'm gonna try this pecan wood, which I have not tried before. Let's see. We'll be on this little adventure together. Definitely don't overfill your basket. I most often smoke cinnamon in this one. And I've noticed that if I have cinnamon sticks sticking too far out the top, it just won't catch and give me good smoke. So we're gonna go about halfway up. All right, to the torch. Ooh. Well, that's fun. Oh. That's delightful. Oh my God. Whew. Oh. The smoke definitely adds another layer of complexity to this. Think of smoke as a garnish. Can you live without it? Yes, but it usually improves the cocktail experience. Tiki drinks are a great example of this. Tiki drinks usually have like a friggin' hedge of mint. That's not just to look pretty. It's so that as you are sipping the cocktail, usually through a straw, your nose is close to the mint, and that becomes part of your flavor experience. Same thing with smoke on a cocktail. In this case, the pecan is definitely very woody. Like I said, I usually smoke this with cinnamon, which I prefer. To do this again, the pecan's okay, but I think the smoked cinnamon actually adds more to this, and you get the idea of cinnamon as you're sipping. So, oh God, it's just freaking delicious. Woo! All right, I could drink that whole thing, but we've got 2 more to get to, so moving on. Time for a smoked ube margarita. What is ube, you might ask? Ube is an Okinawan yam, closely related to taro root. It's something you find in Southeast Asia that's basically a purple sweet potato. That's not the technical scientific term for it, but just go with me. It looks sort of like a sweet potato, tastes sort of like a sweet potato, is very deeply purple in color. Think Grimace of McDonald's fame. It is absolutely delicious. So the Savidge Kitchen Provisions ube syrup, interestingly, has been my best seller since I started making syrup. It's definitely unique in flavor. It's a little bit vanilla. It's definitely nutty. I've had some people compare it to like a very sweet pistachio. It's real good, and it's gonna turn your drinks a deep, deep purple color. So it's wonderful in a margarita, which is what we're gonna make here. And for our smoking technique, we're going to use the cloche method. So I picked up this smoker from the Mixologer. You can find this on Amazon. You can find this on their website. I'll put a link below. Of all of the different cloche smokers available, I think this one has the best value to price. It's $69, I want to say. It comes with its entire setup, and it comes with fuel for your smoker. So the fuel that they recommend is this very finely grated wood. So we've got apple wood chips, we've got maple wood chips, and we have cherry wood chips. The way this works, we've got a hose that connects to this device. There's a basket here where we're going to put our fuel. This is battery operated. There's a fan. Hear that? And then the fan sucks the smoke down through this tube and puts it wherever we direct it to go. In this case, the cloche. The only thing I do not like about this setup is that this cloche in particular is very, very short. So for example, if I wanted to smoke a coupe glass in here, I can't. So you definitely need to choose a short glass, an old-fashioned glass, a rocks glass, some sort of tumbler that's going to fit underneath your cloche. Otherwise, I absolutely love this. This is simple, it's easy. I think it gives the most bang for the buck and is the most dramatic. That's my only complaint, is that I wish the cloche were a little bit taller. We're gonna do this margarita on the rocks. Give this a good shake. So just like half a bar spoonful of wood chips is more than enough. A little goes a long way. Also, the first time I used this, I was doing a smoked cocktail demonstration in person for a group of people and totally didn't realize I had the stopper in here and made a complete fool out of myself. Good times. There we go. How pretty is that? And let's put our lid on. So for this one, you can use a match. It's just about making sure that the little wood chips in here catch on fire. And then we're gonna turn the fan on, and the fan is going to suck oxygen through those wood shavings, keep the fire going, and push the smoke into our cloche. I mean, how cool is that? I'm gonna let it get all the way around. So the other thing I love about this one is you can smoke more than cocktails. If you want to smoke cheeses, fruits, maybe a piece of pie, you can smoke anything in a cloche like this. This really has a lot of possibilities. And for, like I said, it's either $65 or $69 compared to what else is on the market. I really think that this is a fantastic option. So I'm going to remove this. And then this is where you get the drama, right? Oh. Smoked ube margarita. Okay, first of all, that drink's amazing. But second of all, as a technique, you're getting the most smoke experience here, because not only are you smoking the cocktail inside of the glass, the smoke is clinging to the outside of the glass as well. So of the 3 techniques we've tried so far, this one definitely is the smokiest. It's the most expensive because it requires you buying this apparatus. But if you really want to get into having fun with home cocktails, really want to wow your guests, do something special, maybe something fun for Halloween, highly recommend. And finally, we come to the humble mason jar. I have not personally tried this one yet, so we are in it together, my friends. I read about this, and quite frankly, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because for it to be effective, you need either something like this where you can pipe the smoke in, or you need a fog hat. You need a way to get the smoke into the container for this to be effective. That being the case, you might as well do one of these other 3 options. But a lot of people have mason jars at home, and maybe there are other techniques. I was thinking you could maybe set cinnamon sticks on fire in here with a torch, smother it, then put the cocktail in the shaker. I don't know. We're gonna try it out and see what happens. For this one, we are making a blood and sand. This is, I think, an often forgotten, overlooked cocktail, and it's absolutely delicious. If you are trying to get into scotch, this is sort of a stepping stone. We're using a very mild blended scotch, monkey shoulder. This is delicious. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so for this technique, we've made our cocktail, all of our ingredients into a shaker with ice to incorporate everything and dilute it. But now we need to put said cocktail in a mason jar. And I'm going to do this without the ice because we don't want to dilute it further, because it needs to sit in the jar with the smoke for like 2 to 5 minutes. All right, this seems like itty bitty cocktail for a very big mason jar. So maybe make more cocktail. Maybe this would be good for a batch. I don't know. So now I'm gonna use the Mixologer smoker here, just because I know that is going to give me the most smoke. And I'm very unsure of this technique, so we want to just help it out as much as possible. That seems like a lot of smoke. Okay. All right, so then you're supposed to agitate this and then let it sit for 2 to 5 minutes. We're gonna clean up. All right, let's see what this does. Ooh, it does smell very good. Ooh, okay. I have to say, of the smoke on all of these, that one smelled the best, and I don't know if it because it sat with the liquid the longest. Eh. Meh. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the best part of that experience was just taking the lid off of the mason jar. It did smell really good, but I don't think it particularly added much to the cocktail. I mean, I love a blood and sand. The cocktail's good, but the smoke seems inconsequential. In fact, it tastes kind of weird. So that could be a lot of things. It might be that smoke doesn't complement this cocktail, but that doesn't make any sort of sense. I know smoke will complement this cocktail with that scotch, with the cherry, those deep brandy flavors. I just don't think it works with this technique. So we'll try this again in some other form or video. Follow along on Instagram. That's probably where I'll do it with one of the other techniques. But the mason jar, I don't know, doesn't really seem worth the effort when you have to have at least some of these other elements to accomplish it. So my recommendations, if you're going the DIY route, definitely try the skillet. If you really want to impress people and have something that's very, very visually exciting, I would try the cloche. And if you want something that works every single time, make sure to get yourself a disc. The Smoke UFO is great. And I'll put links to all kinds of things below. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you don't burn your house down. And tune in next time for some other sort of cocktail or culinary fun. Cheers, friends.